Hi friends, happy new year! It's Sam and today I'm gonna start off the new year with a bang and I'm gonna show you how to make my easy vegan cinnamon buns. Oh yeah! That cinnamon sugar delicious pull apart dough with the frosting on top and all. Delish. And of course, as we like it here on this channel, I hacked up this recipe to make it as easy as possible. So there is no yeast, there is no kneading. It takes 10 ingredients only, and at the end you are left with these gorgeous homemade cinnamon buns. They can be made ahead of time and frozen and all of that good stuff, or you can have them straight into the oven, making this recipe as easy as possible for you. Now I do have some news that I want to share with you, but I'll save that for the end of the video, so make sure you stay tuned till the very end to catch that news. But right now I just want to hop straight into the recipe, so let's start it. Let's get to making my easy vegan cinnamon buns. Okay, so grab yourself a large bowl, and to this I'm going to add 4.5 cups of all-purpose flour. Flour everywhere! To the flour, add 2 tablespoons of baking powder and 1 teaspoon of salt. Then just whisk that all together. In this recipe, I'm using the baking powder to rise up the dough and make it soft and fluffy instead of yeast. So it's just kind of an easier hack, an easier method to get a very similar result. Now to this, I'm gonna need 1 cup of vegan butter. One of the little hacks I like is that 1 tub of Earth Balance is actually 2 cups. So I'm just gonna cut this right in half, and then I will have 1 cup of vegan butter. Like so. I'm gonna cut this vegan butter into cubes and just drop the little cubes into the flour mixture so that we can cut the butter into the flour. Now if you don't have a pastry cutter yet in your collection of kitchen tools, I will put a link to where you can get one off of Amazon down below. They're usually pretty cheap and good to have on hand, but if you don't have one and aren't interested in picking one up, you can use a fork or 2 forks or a couple of knives, and just kind of literally cut the butter into the flour. Now I'm just using my pastry cutter to run around the bowl, cutting that butter right into the flour until I reach a nice sandy kind of grainy texture like so. So that looks good. And now that I have that grainy texture, I'm just gonna pour in my non-dairy milk. Today I'm using a coconut milk because that's what I have on hand, but you can use a soy or an almond or anything that you prefer. Now I'm gonna get a spoon and combine that non-dairy milk into the flour. Alright, now it's coming together, but it still isn't completely mixed. At this point I want to get in there with my hands, so I'm actually gonna clean up this work surface a little bit and just toss it on the counter, so give me a second. So you can do this right in the bowl if you prefer, but I kind of just find it easiest to dump out this shaggy mess straight onto the counter. And then I just start combining everything together. It's gonna seem like it won't really come together at first, it's pretty dry, but just give it a chance, it'll come together. Continually pulling in all of that dry mixture. It's getting everywhere. Almost there. There. Just until all of that loose flour is combined and the dough comes to a ball. You don't need to keep kneading it or anything like that. You just want to combine it until it forms a nice doughy ball, like so. So now I just want to let it rest for 10 to 15 minutes. Allowing it to rest is going to make the dough get that kind of stretchy texture so that when we bake it, it's going to have that nice pull apart cinnamon bun texture. Delicious. So I'm just gonna set this aside and prepare my cinnamon sugar mixture. For my cinnamon sugar filling, it's really super easy. I just melt a 1/4 cup of vegan butter, and then in another bowl, I'm gonna mix together 1 cup of brown sugar and 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. Ooh, that smells good. I love cinnamon. Oh yeah. So I'm just gonna mix that together with a fork. And that's it. That's my cinnamon sugar filling. Alrighty, so my dough has rested for 15 minutes. So I'm going to lightly flour my clean work surface here. Oh, hi, chickpea. Cinnamon buns aren't for dogs. And now I'm going to pop my dough on here. flour on top and roll out this dough. Oh yeah, so soft and lovely, this dough. I kind of want to try to keep rolling it into a rectangle type shape. It does not have to be perfect, but if that's what you're kind of aiming for. Now I'm aiming for a rectangle that is about 19 by 14. There we go. So now I've got my melted vegan butter. I'm just gonna pour that straight on the dough, and using my pastry brush, I'll spread that all over. If you don't have a pastry brush, you can use just the back of a spoon, or even your fingers if you just want to get in there. Any way you want to spread the butter will work wonderfully. Getting straight to the edges because you want every last little bite to be totally scrumptious, delicious, buttery, delicious cinnamon buns. Okay, so that's all spread around. And now just evenly sprinkle over your cinnamon sugar mixture. So I usually just take the whole bowl like this, try to spread it. You can kind of spread it out with your fingers as needed. Try to make it nice and even so there's no spaces where deliciousness is missing. Beautiful. So now I'm just gonna start from the side that's closest to me and roll that way, just tucking in the ends, nice and tightly. And then roll it up. Pretty easy peasy. Beautiful. I'm gonna scoot this guy towards me. So now I just want to take my roll and cut it into 12. So I'm going to start by cutting it in half and cutting those halves in half. Right there. And then each one of these sections will make 3 rolls. So I like to just score it a little bit so I can make sure that they're as even as possible. You can do this down the whole roll if you like, and then you can just nicely saw back and forth to make some gorgeous cinnamon buns. Take a look at that. Isn't that pretty? All gorgeous cinnamon swirl in there. Now grab yourself a 9 by 12 baking dish. I have this one here. And I like to line mine with a bit of parchment paper, but you could also just grease it, whatever you prefer, just to stop the cinnamon rolls from sticking. And then just pop them straight in the dish, spreading them out nice and evenly. For the end bits that kind of have the shaggy bums, just put the shaggy bits bum side down, and they'll be fine. They'll blend in right with the rest. So there we go, all of my gorgeous cinnamon buns ready to bake. Now this might seem a bit squishy in here, but that's exactly what you want. If there's too much space, there'll be a lot of air around each cinnamon bun and they'll dry out a little bit and get a little bit hard. When they're this way, they'll expand into each other and get that classic cinnamon bun shape and stay soft and tender all the way through. So I'm gonna pop these in the oven now for about 24 to 28 minutes at 400 degrees. While my cinnamon buns are baking, I'm gonna make my icing. The icing is totally optional. If you don't like frosted cinnamon buns, you don't need to make it, but I am definitely an icing kind of gal. So let's get to it. Very easy to make. It's just 1 cup of powdered sugar, also called icing sugar or confectioner's sugar for this recipe. All the same thing, so whichever one you have will work beautifully. 2 tablespoons of vegan butter. If your butter is very hard, you might want to soften it a wee bit, but don't melt it. It's not a melted butter kind of thing, but you just want to be able to mix it into your sugar. 1 teaspoon vanilla extract. It looks like I have just enough. Woo. And either 3 teaspoons of lemon juice or non-dairy milk. Normally I go for the lemon juice because I love the little bit of tang it adds to the frosting. It's got almost a cream cheese vibe with that kind of, you know, slight tang in there, but I totally forgot to buy lemons at the grocery store. So I'm going to be using a non-dairy milk this time, which just makes an all-sweet icing. Now both ways are totally good, but you know, it's whatever you prefer. So 3 teaspoons of non-dairy milk or lemon juice. And then just mix that together. Really simple. That's your icing, that's it. Woo! Try not to fluff the sugar everywhere. So there we go. There's my frosting, my icing, whatever you want to call it. Ooh. That's kind of delicious and gross all at the same time. Alright, my cinnamon buns are out of the oven now and smelling amazing. You can see that they have risen up. They're nice and fluffy and very lightly golden brown just around the edges. I've let them rest for about 10 minutes, but they're still nice and warm. So I'm gonna put on the frosting now so that it kind of melts into the buns a little bit. So I'm just gonna kind of randomly spread this frosting around. It'll kind of melt into all those crevices and become super delicious and gooey. Just love it. One of the things I love about this is kind of the messier it is, the better it looks. You just want to dive right in there. And there we go! Homemade frosted cinnamon buns. Delicious, so excited. I gotta try one immediately. Just going for this big guy right here. Oh yeah. Okay, let's give this cinnamon bun a try. Oh, it's so warm and soft. Check that out. The layers are peeling off. Oh, good. Delicious. Icing, frosting is so good. It's so good. Why is it so good? Okay, now this is like dangerously good. The layers pull apart just like they're supposed to. That cinnamon sugar filling, it's flaky and tender and super moist. That icing on there is the perfect little sweet touch that makes it just sing deliciousness. Oh yeah, I am loving these cinnamon rolls. Now, as always, I'll pop a link to the full recipe down below in the description and one up here as well, so if you decide to make this recipe, it's all written out nicely for you there. Now, as for the news, for 2019, I am working on a lot of exciting, fun projects that I cannot wait to share with you guys. I can't tell you right now, but I promise to share the news as soon as I can. Now, that does mean that I'm going to be super duper busy, so unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to post a video every single week like I did in 2018, but I will still be posting videos, just not as consistently. So to make sure that you don't miss a single video, hit that notification bell so you get a notification whenever I do post a new video. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, let me know by hitting that like button. Don't forget to subscribe for a brand shiny new vegan video whenever I next post it. I'll see you soon. Bon appetit! Chickpea, do you like cinnamon buns? Do you like cinnamon buns? Cinnamon buns aren't for you. No, they're not for you. Sorry, bud. But you can have a dog treat. You want a treat? There you go.